51-year-old woman shot and killed two teenage boys who tried to break into her home late at night in Georgia. Now the victims' families are demanding $1 million in compensation. The incident took place around 11 p.m. According to investigators, the two teens, just 15 and 16 years old, were caught on a neighbor's camera approaching the house with their hoods up. They kicked repeatedly at the front door, trying to break the lock and force their way inside to steal valuables inside the home. Margaret Wilson, who lives alone, woke up to the sound of the door shaking violently. Terrified and believing she was moments away from being attacked, she grabbed her revolver and stood behind the hallway wall. When the door finally cracked open, she fired multiple shots. One teen collapsed outside the doorway and died instantly. The second was taken to the hospital, but doctors later pronounced him dead due to severe internal injuries, despite clear signs of forced entry. The families filed a lawsuit accusing Margaret of using unnecessary deadly force. In court, they argued the boys were young and reckless but didn't deserve to die, and demanded that she pay $1 million in damages. Margaret's lawyer countered that she was an elderly woman alone at night facing a violent break-in, and that any reasonable person in her situation would fear for their life after reviewing surveillance footage and physical evidence. The judge ruled that Margaret acted within Georgia's self-defense laws and dismissed the lawsuit entirely. Do you think this was justified self-defense?
Well, yo, man, it's King Flip holding it down for the cool people, man. I'm right back at you with the homie TK from around the way. We also have a special guest that y'all may have seen on some other episodes. Miss Sweet, the producer, the machine behind the machine doing her thing. So, Miss Sweet, you actually presented this topic. So why don't you give them a brief summary of what this is about, first and foremost?
I came across a video of a 70-something-year-old woman whose house was broken into by some teenagers, and she shot at them and actually killed two of them. And the families of the kids sued her and tried to say that she used excessive force. Like, how could she shoot at these kids who broke into her home? I think they were even armed in the video from what it looked like. I'm not going to stand 100 on it, but, you know.
Quick question, do you know what state this was to?
If I had to guess a state, I'd probably say Florida. All the crazy shit happens in Florida.
Yeah, they say that.
But no, I didn't say. I don't remember what state, so I can't, stand on that. But I want to know how you guys feel. Like, do you think that the family should have said, like, because what they were trying to say is all they were trying to do was break into your home.
Right.
Like, do you think they had a right to sue the woman for wrongful death and excessive force?
TK, man, you wanna take this off first?
Yeah, I don't think they had a right to sue the woman. Shit, they lucky and they running them out. I would kill the fuck out of them, bring them back to life, kill the fuck out of them again. They actually real disrespectful for trying to sue somebody when they should have been taking that energy and raising youth who was productive to society.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It feels like a true lack of accountability. You know what I'm saying? That's because the old saying is like it starts in the home type shit, right? Now I understand environmental shit. I understand, part of the environment, all that type of shit like that. Sometimes, the lack of a father or whatever the case may be. But this even seems worse than that because it's like you bullying. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You come to an elderly woman and you thought it was sweet and you just didn't know she was packing.
Be packing at that age.
You know what I'm talking about? But it's real. You just assumed that there was going to be a lick. And that's why I asked what state this was, because in most states, you have a self-defense law where you come across a threshold and you coming across a threshold.
As long as you shouldn't go back.
No, as long as they're clean. Right. But if they're coming across there actively, which in the video, they're kicking the door in. So the first one was completely justified to shoot him straight because he's coming in with the action of I'm aggressive, I'm coming in, whatever in there I'm taking, even if that means you don't know the difference. You just know you hear this happening, right? So that's justifiable. You know what I mean? Like that's self-defense at its purest core to me. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Self-defense.
Miss D, I mean Miss Smith.
It stands on the stand your ground, not even protect, stand your ground.
Well, that's the Florida law. But if it's
I've lived in Florida for over a decade. That's why that sticks in your head.
But that basically just means self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't have to run. But see, the reason why stand your ground, I think it's so tricky because that that was the Zimmerman shit, right? And with that, it's not necessarily in the home. It's being able to give you more range to, like, if you're out in the street, you can do the same kind of defense that you would have if somebody went across the threshold of your home. Generally, the law would be if that's why people be like, well, bring your ass inside then. Because you come up out here talking crazy, I can kill you in here. You feel me? And so that's why most people will look at it like that. Because the stand your ground law was maybe where if I'm beefing with you in the street, I can have a justifiable thing depending on how you aggress, being aggressive to me, how you coming at me, right? That's what you heard, T? Something along those lines. Well, that's what different. And that's why I said what state was it in. That's kind of important, because I think that she even brought that case or tried to sue, depending on where it's at, might just get thrown straight out the.
I mean, if you watch the video, you saw the judge lay into the parents,
right?
Tell them how dare you try to sue this woman? Your kids, broke into her home, aggressively, came at her, she had every right to defend herself and to defend her home. And
this is a 70-something on
75, at least I think it was.
It's crazy to me. What was she going to do if she didn't have a gun? This is the question that they should be asking, because this is where home invasion and kidnapping happens. You feel me, T? Because it's home, right? Well, first of all, there's B&E, right? So you're breaking and entering. That's just going in aggressive. But home invasion is while you're home, right? So that takes care of the crazy charge. And if you don't kill her, you just restrain her. That's kidnapping.
Well, I mean, you think about sorry to cut you off, but a woman of her age, health issues, you could scare that woman to death.
Now you caught a body on accident.
Yeah.
But if you go in there with guns, they ain't gonna think it's an accident. I mean, even though the cause of death wouldn't be because of a bullet, you're still gonna get the same murder charge because you came in there with weapons. They're not gonna assume you came just to be like, freeze. They're gonna think you brought them just in case of shit. And technically you did. Because if you would have gotten a drop on her before she had her gun, that's what you would have did.
Her doors weren't as strong as they were.
Right.
You probably would have.
She probably had that real oak. You know what I'm saying? So this is a crazy situation, but it makes me think, T. I know this ain't the only case you heard like this before, where there's been people. There was one that you told me of one that you researched about.
A 16-year-old kid who was sticking his arm through the dog door of a person's home, trying to open, or the mail slot. It wasn't a dog door; it was the mail slot. Yeah. Trying to unlock their door to come in, and the woman was home alone and bashed his arm with a baseball bat.
Right.
And it did some serious damage to his arm.
Right.
And the parents tried to sue that woman for bodily harm and excessive force because all he was trying to do was break into your home. And again, I don't get that logic.
See, that's a weird thing. I saw another case where a guy was breaking in, he was going through the window, and he got cut up real bad by the window. You feel me? And he tried to sue the people there for his bodily injury. And I don't even know the logic that you can have. They didn't touch him or nothing. It was because he received injuries doing burglary and then tried to sue the people. This is the logic that some people have. This is like...
Please tell me that one was at least a grown man and not a child.
You know what? We can look this up. And matter of fact, let's look this up. Because it was a grown man, though. This was a grown man, but that's the crazy logic. This is a crackhead logic. It got to be crackhead logic. You feel me? Because this is stealing from the grocery store and then going back and suing them because the meat was expired. You know what I'm saying? I got sick of the meat I stole. Nigga, So, usually I try to do a two-sides coin, right? So, for the people that... She's like, I want to hear this shit. Because it's a reach. But for the people that are like, hey, you never been down so bad before where you had to do anything you had to do. You never been in a tough time where you on your last meal. For the people that might say, they're kids. Kids make stupid decisions and stuff like that. Well, I dare say that it's a lot of motherfuckers that's been down on their luck before. Bad, and never did no shit like that. Respect their elders. Hell, if you keep the elders right, they might even bless you with something. You understand what I'm saying? For real. So I only suppose that other side for the people that may reach to that may say, hey, you don't know what it feels like. Nah, that's bullshit, bro. Trust me. We know what it feels like. And there's other alternatives. And that don't, listen, we ain't holier than thou, so it doesn't mean that sometimes mistakes can be done to do what it is you got to do to live. But this one really feels like bullying. You had to scope this spot out. You had to think this was a sweet lady. You knew this old lady was good. You chose this woman as a victim, and it backfired on your ass, pun intended. You see what I'm saying? So that's what makes this to me. How do you feel about it, D? And I'm gonna bring it back to you, sweet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said they got what they deserve, man. Shit, you play stupid game, win stupid prize.
Them niggas will have a sprinkler system coming to their ass and shit. You know what I'm saying? Leak and shit. You watering the grass now, nigga. Sweet, how do you?
Back to the parents. Like, I'm sorry, I would have turned around and sued the parents. Like, if I was her, I would turn around and sue. Like, I'm sorry, they're still minors. You're still responsible for their actions. You want to sue me for that? That's where my petty ass, like.
You bring up a great fucking point. You know there are states now that are talking about that type of shit. Like if you have, and I wish I could remember this, but I want to say it's like DC, something like that, where they had like these teen, just mass teen takeovers and shit. You feel me? And
Orlando.
I think
Orlando's the big one, right?
You feel me? So some of these major cities and states have had this situation, this conversation with it, like, hey, if you don't want to take care of your kids, then we're gonna judge you for not, you feel me? And I think that's smart to a degree. To a degree. Because sometimes you can't always manage what your kids are doing, especially if you're a real active parent and you have to work. That's an unfortunate cause of life, real shit. You gotta hope that you put the seeds in and that your kids but we all know also that sometimes when the parents are away, the kids gonna play. And we also know the devil is working. So when you out there without that covering of your mother or your father, and in our situation, the mama, you feel me? And then you got the makeshift pops coming around, the mommy coming around. You see what I'm saying? And then you start to navigate and gravitate to that shit. That's that product of environment shit. And I get that shit. I understand. But it does still fall back on the covering of your parents. You can't be these new age parents that I ain't gonna go in your fucking room. That's your property. Who the fuck are? Like, that's the most crazy shit. There was no locked doors in my fucking house. None. You know how many my shit got confiscated by what? Boy, because she had free reign. She was curious. She was engaged. Why am I coming up with money? I had enough money for the goddamn school lunch. How the fuck I got it? Like, that don't make no sense, right? So it does from parenting. So I would agree with you that if they was able to, she should have sued the parents if they're underage. Because who's responsible for these motherfuckers? Who's teaching them these motherfucking shit? Who's in
You're basically turning around and condoning their actions by saying they were just, you're basically condoning what they were doing.
But you're also showing you're guilty. If you're acting like an active parent now, like my child will never ever, then that means you had to be active in his upbringing, that you were active in his life. So then where were you when he made the decision? Where were you when he was getting the guns? Where were you? He was running around the streets plotting this shit. You think this is his first time? That didn't look like no amateur shit. They came in there, boom, 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 with the foot. You know what I'm saying? They was doing a kick though. Ain't no fucking first time shit. They came in there strong, the strong arm. So they had practice. Where were you then? He wasn't suing shit. He wasn't whooping shit. There was no fuck grounding. We don't fuck that shit. But you understand what I'm saying? There was no BTA, belt to ass going on. Now you want to stand up and be like, let me get this check off this old white woman. That's what I think is going on. You feel me? My kid is hurt. My kid is gone. And I understand the grief. R.I.P. Listen, R.I.P. to the kid. Sorry his future's gone. Sorry his life is gone. He never gonna have a chance to make that shit up and rearrange his life or try to change anything. But these are the rules that you play by, and these are the consequences that come from the rules that you play by. You play street games, you're gonna get street consequences. You play foolish games, you're gonna get foolish consequences. This is the life. And you choose that, and you hope that you're not a martyr for the game. But sometimes you are. Sometimes you're not spray painting the wall. Sometimes they spray paint the wall for you. And that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna reverse it all the way around so we can close out the show, and then I'll shut it down. Big TK, you got anything else to say about this, brother?
Nah, that was it for me.
Mr. T, I'm over to hear this shit, and you brought some good topics and things like that. Do you have anything that you would like to say before we shut this thing down?
I think I said all I had to say about it. Covered. I'd love to hear what other people
Absolutely.
have to say,
Absolutely.
their thoughts are.
And I hope y'all hear that. We would love to see what y'all think about it. Love to go back and forth. Love to see the debate. Because maybe we said our opinion. Doesn't mean our opinion is law. Doesn't mean we know everything. And so we would like to see other people's perspectives as well. Until then, man, we catch all y'all cool kids at the cool table next time.